Good morning, my YouTube viewers. It's Palestine here. I wasn't really intending on making a video today, but something happened yesterday that upset me, and I thought, well, this is related to my cancer, so I thought, well, maybe I should make a video on it. And basically, the first thing is that this is where they took out the lymph nodes, was right here. There's an incision right here where they took out the lymph nodes. And that's a very bad place. And it's swollen. It's even swollen right now. I know you can't see it, but it's swollen. Like it's more swollen than it is on the right side. So it was swollen yesterday, and I even showed my boyfriend, and my boyfriend could tell the difference, that it was more swollen on the left side than it was the right side. And obviously I was worried about it, but I laid down, and when I laid down and rested, I guess the swelling went away. And I think just having to walk, because the scar is in a bad place, and I guess just having to walk around has aggravated the wound. So that's something to do with my cancer, for those individuals who are interested in what's going on with the cancer. And then, so I was at church yesterday, and the church that I go to, most of the people who attend the church are middle class, and they have no idea. They have no idea what it's like to truly struggle. I'm sure some of them have struggled, but they have no idea what it's like to truly struggle. And so, like, for instance, my boyfriend wanted to talk to this one man whose wife had died of cancer, because he thought that one man could give him some insight, and the guy wasn't really keen on talking to him, and he had him talk to a guy who was a GP, and the GP told him that it's harder on the partners than it is the people who actually have cancer. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that it's harder on the partners. Maybe it might be harder on the partners mentally, but it's definitely not harder on the partners physically. And I don't think that he should have told my boyfriend that it's harder on the partners than it is for the people who actually have cancer, because I don't think that's true. But that is just the sort of comments that you get from people at the church that we go to, because it's middle class people. They've no idea. They've no idea what it's like to truly struggle. And so they're out of touch. They're not out of touch. And I know if they knew my life, if they knew all the things that have happened in my life, they would just be traumatized. They would just be traumatized having to listen to all the things that I have lived through. And yeah, I've lived through it, but have I really? Because I got cancer. I got cancer because of all these bad experiences. And so that brings me to what happened that caused me to be really upset. So yesterday, when we were finished with the service, we went and got a tea, and then my boyfriend and I were sitting down at the tea, and a lady who's a vicar came down and sat down and was speaking to me and asking me how I was doing. And so I started telling her how I was doing, telling her how I had to go back to work because I didn't get any sick pay, telling her how the porters told people I work with that I'd had a procedure and things like that. And she says, well, you're looking really good. Well, what do you think somebody with cancer looks like? You know? And I said, well, she says, you're getting around, you're looking really good. And I just told her, I said, I've got no choice. I have no choice. I've had some of the most, I didn't say this to her, but I've had some of the most horrendous experiences, and people didn't care. People did not care. And I just had to keep going. And if people don't want to see you going around saying, oh, poor me, I've got cancer, poor me. You know, they don't care. They've got problems of their own and they're not interested. And I just said to her, I said, well, I've got no choice. I said, I have to keep going. If I was to sit around the house, I've got a tiny little apartment. I'm making this video from my room, and this is half of my apartment. And if I was to sit around saying, oh, poor me, I've got cancer, I can't go out because I've got cancer, my boyfriend, he wouldn't be very happy. He probably would go out on his own and maybe even meet somebody else, you know. And then the thing is that one thing that I said to this, and the lady vicar just said to me, oh, well, you have to be careful what you tell me because I'm squeamish. You know, and then so I didn't think that I was telling her that much. And then I just said to her, I said, well, I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos. And I said, and one of the things that they said on the YouTube videos was that 70% of women who have breast cancer, their partners either leave them or have an affair. And she says, oh, well, you just shouldn't even watch those videos. And she says, Mike, he's okay. You have a good relationship with Mike. And then she just got up and left. And I found that quite hurtful that she did that she just got up and left like that. But that's basically what I've heard watching YouTube videos, that people get ghosted. When people get cancer, they get ghosted. All these people who they thought were their friends just abandon them when they get cancer. And I guess that's my situation, you know. I guess that's my situation, that, you know, people, which I never really thought Christine was my friend, but I certainly just didn't expect her just to get up and leave like that, which is what she did. She just got up and left. And I've watched YouTube videos about when people get cancer, they get ghosted. When they get cancer, they lose all their friends and stuff like that. And so basically that happened to me, because people at church know that I've got cancer, or they know I had an operation. Some of them know I've got cancer, but they know I had an operation. I just found it upsetting. I found it very upsetting. And I just thought, well, she obviously can't listen to people's problems, or not my problems anyway. And I thought, well, maybe she likes being a victor because she likes, you know, having the service. She likes having the service and stuff like that. But with regard to actually listening to people's problems, she certainly didn't want to listen to my problems. And so I just thought I'd make a video about this, how someone at the church, a vicar, just walked off and left me. And I found that quite upsetting. And I didn't stay very long after that. I just told my boyfriend I wanted to leave. And then so he stayed and talked to people, but I left. I went home because it was a 10-minute walk, and I just didn't want to stay anymore. I don't feel comfortable staying at the church anyway when people are having tea and coffee and talking, because a lot of times they don't talk to me, and I don't like just standing there like a loose wheel. So generally I just like to go home anyway. But I just wanted to make this video just to let you know what happened, that I got not necessarily ghosted, but I definitely got rebuffed. And it was because I had cancer, or because I have cancer. And then in addition to that, just because I look good doesn't mean I'm good. And I don't know what people expect someone with cancer to actually look like, you know. And I'm having to go places and do things, because if I was to sit home saying I can't go out because I've got cancer, well, my boyfriend wouldn't be very happy. He may go out on his own. He may meet somebody else who's not going to sit at home feeling sorry for themselves because they've got cancer. So I guess that concludes this video. If you like my video, please like and subscribe. And thank you for watching my video where I was just really upset. And I thought, well, I'll make a video about this incident because it does actually have something to do with my cancer. So thank you again, and I will be communicating with you soon.